here I'm going to share my setup of this Squid Game green light, red light simulation with multiple triggers and conditions. This is not going to be for a beginner, and this is not a tutorial since I still have a lot to learn on this topic. However, this is one of the most complex crowd simulation on YouTube you can find, so I still hope it is worth to share with you. Okay, so here is the setup. Firstly, I set up the background. This is the two men and the door and the tree. I put two doors behind so that the agents can try to escape from the room. And here I set it up the agent, and on this side point set up, and here's the simulation. And as I mentioned, inside the simulation I have multiple clips and lots of triggers divided into different stages in the simulation. First, I have this robot from Mixamoy, Agent Prep, and I imported this one doesn't matter. Let me just remove it. Okay. Anyways, I put agent clips and walk cycle, terrified motion. One thing to note is that I set this as convert to in place animation so that the agent is not moving, like it is staying in the origin always. If you check walk cycle, you can see this is in place animation. And here in agent, and here agent collision layer is where I just roughly set up the collision and the joint direction. This two process is necessary if you wanted to use the ragdoll is bullet simulation in crowd. And as for the points, just simply distributed the points. And here I have panics group, and I also created S-art group type calm and panic so that I can use this attribute to manipulate to control who will react to the first panic. And plug that into crowd source, and my crowd source has okay. Now let's dive into the simulation. Here we have a big tree of setup. This is the motion state clips of agents, and this is like steering an obstacle, basically how you want to control the movement of the agents. And here lots of triggers and condition, and this is an adjustment, coloring or manipulating the attribute. And if you want to use the ragdoll setup as well, use crowd object to constraint network plugged into multi-solver and combine crowd solver and bullet solver into multi-solver. That way you can use this getting shot and lying down, breaking down to the ground effect. So let's quickly overview our condition. The first green light, two men starts to running forward, and the first one get killed, the second one get panic, and he tried to run away and get shot, and this causes the massive panic, and everyone starts to run away and get killed. And the third stage starts with the first green light. All of the agents proceed forward and some get killed. The second green light goes off, they proceed, they get killed. the third one, this is the third one, and finally after the third green light they reach the goal. That's what we're trying to make. So if you go back, this trigger, before looking into those triggers, I just want to have a quick look at our state. So I have slow run, terrified, walk, crouching, tired, jump. And one thing to note is that I have wait, but I also have second wait, third wait. Like it's all using exactly the same motion clip, but with the different state name, so that it's a little bit easier to control. Yeah, also I have third run, those two are the same. Yeah, so if you get the simulation wrong, like somehow, like if you have this many triggers, it's very difficult sometimes to maintain the cohesive condition. So it can be easier if you just separate the state. Anyways, so now the first one, this one, the trigger is set as current state definition, which is wait to slow run, and this group is reading from the point above. Where I set the first, the attribute called first, and the second. So if the attribute first is 1, and hold it for 5 frames from wait and start to learn, and the second one, if the attribute second is 1, then after 20 seconds, which is 5 plus 15, follow the first guy. And here I controlled the velocity so that the first one runs a little bit faster than the second one. Okay, and if the attribute first is 1, and after the frame of 50, the first one, the state change from slow run to ragdoll. This is where he gets shot. And the second one reacts from slow run to wait because he has to stop first, and this is triggered by the time. And the second one get terrified if the second is 1, and I use the custom vex to find the attribute, to find the point number of the point who has a value of 1 in the attribute that is called first. Okay, so this trigger gets the information, finds the point number of this first guy, and if you look at the geometry spreadsheet, open crowd object and geometry, you can get all the attribute information. So if you type in crowd trigger and asterisk, it's gonna list up all the attributes whose name is crowd trigger, and what we are interested in is first to stop, that is this trigger. So let's search first to stop, and here, and if you look at this, it has the value of -1, but at some point when he dies, the crowd trigger first stop is changed from -1 to +1, and this is the trigger. So this second terrified trigger is saying if the crowd trigger first stop is equal to 1, then trigger the following, which is wait to terrified, and this is triggered. So the second guy goes from wait to terrified, followed by the second return, which is if the attribute second is 1, and after 5 frames of terrified, change it to return, and he's gonna return and after 10-20 frames he's gonna return to fast run to escape, and this is where he gets shot. After 1 frame he's gonna switch from fast run to ragdoll. And this is the first stage of our simulation, and the second stage is this massive panic. So this part is the first stage. Now the second stage starts from panic terrified, and I use this trigger using time, which in the future I think it will be smarter way. There must be a smarter way to detect, like using Beck's expression, but this time it was just easier for me. So yeah, time expression. And if panic terrified, the frame is greater than 130, the panic group, which is set up above here, string attribute group type is panics. This is referenced in here. Group type equals panic, then it's gonna panic from wait to terrified. And after terrified for 25 seconds, 25 frames, then it's gonna change from terrified to return, and they're gonna face backward and start to running after 10 frames. And this is the tricky part. This panic approach is a trigger, and that is particle proximity. So if any agents are closer to a different agent that has different value in group type, then it's gonna start, it's gonna be triggered. So if you type in panic approach, okay, just copy crowd trigger and panic approach, you can see the trigger value. By the way, this spreadsheet is the must item. Like, this is where we check everything, if it's working correctly or debugging and so. So usually it's -1, but when the panic group is close to the calm group, then the value switch to 1. That is going to trigger this, which is if the agent state is wait, then set point group. So it's gonna be point group. If you want to look at the group attribute, then you can just type in group, and it's gonna show all the group attribute. But what we're interested in is panic run. Yeah, but anyways, if this is the point, set the group type and find an integer trigger is whether this panic approach is to retrieve the attribute, the panic approach. And if the trigger is on, and if it's like 40% of chance, set the group type attribute from calm to panic. So this pink is triggered by panic approach and change the state, the group type from calm to panic. And this is the same initial state crouching. I don't think I'm using this trigger. Again, the next one is panic run. Panic run is the group that we set in this node. So group this one, and duration of 40. It's gonna change the state from fast run to ragdoll. And that was the second stage. And the third stage will be the precision, like save precision. So the first green light, the trigger is set as time. So if the group type is calm, then it's gonna proceed from wait to slow run. and the type is calm. And this is important because the trigger name first green light, if the attribute crowd trigger first green light is equal to 1, then set the point group to first green to 1. This group type will be used in the second trigger, the first green, and it's gonna set another group type. First one is first red and second green. The first red group will be killed after 10 frames from wait to ragdoll, but the second group, the second green group, will move on to the second green light, and it's gonna wait for 60 frames and to wait to slow run. And here also manipulate the group, so we're not gonna use the first green point group, so we're gonna set this to 0, and the new group type we need is first red. Excuse me, so these two we used it already in this stage, so we're gonna make it 0 so that it doesn't confuse the simulation later on. And the second green set to slow to second wait, because I was using the wait state but it was confusing with the wait, so I changed the state name and set the group type and do the similar thing, divide it into 2 different groups, and the third one is the same. And the fourth green light, I changed it to injured run so that it looks like they are tired. So this is the first green light, they're gonna go and they stop and kill and move on to the second green light. And second green light, and did an injured walk. And lastly, when reach the goal, this is set as so I created the limit, let's say 20 meters, and if the point position is the p axis of attribute p is greater than 20, then trigger is on. And when it's triggered, injured run to either outstate, tired, or crouching. So it's gonna rest. And also I forgot to mention earlier, when the panic is happening, I had 2 triggers. One is that when it reached the wall, so when this point is closer to the wall or go beyond the line of -19, then it's gonna trigger to death. This is how the agent is killed near the wall. And also I didn't wanna keep them running, so when it's fast run, which is running, this group you can easily access to the point group, and when it goes beyond this line, it's gonna get shot. So this 3 is additional global trigger for my simulation. And here I will just coloring the agent state. What else? Okay, so obstacle, obviously you wanted to avoid the door when you go, so always this agent is gonna reach to the goal in injured run, so I set the group type to injured run, and the sort path to the door, and pop seek fast run, so when they are escaping the goal you can always pop seek. If you set to vex, you can have access to the pass through, like goal, it's called goal. So the goal, I set 2 goals, A and B, and it is set to the position of the door, and the door, so that the door can attract a slow pop. Pop obstacle. Yep, that's it for my trigger simulation. I know I got a little bit tired after I talking for a while, and I'm aware that my English is not very easy to understand for you guys, but I hope this technique or the project file that I shared is somewhat useful. If there's any question or advice, leave the comments so we can learn together, and thank you again so much for watching this.